All right, so let's go ahead and get into the actual course. Let me pull up our Brightspace class. So hold on for me 1 second. In the Brightspace announcements that I sent out previously, I included a YouTube video that gave some information about um, uploading the Brightspace Pulse app. So let me pull this up. Sorry, you guys, I'm talking and scrolling at the same time. Let me share my screen. All right, so you guys may have already gone in and attempted to look around our Brightspace course page, but if you haven't, really make sure, and I see, I'm stopping myself for just a second because I see a quick question came in from Alejandra. Where can you find the recordings if you ever miss a class? Look, glad you asked. All of those recordings will always be posted to our Brightspace course page. So here you can see on the screen that's shared that our Brightspace course page will not only house announcements, course calendar, any documents or handouts from the class. It is also where you will go to submit papers, to participate or complete quizzes. So this is what I would call the one-stop shop for our English 101 course, okay? So not only do we meet synchronously on Zoom, we also engage in the Brightspace course page. So you guys see that here. When you get a chance, make sure when you guys pull up the Brightspace course page that you save it as a favorite on your laptop, your tablet, or on your phone, just for easy access. Okay, you guys will be using this course page quite often over the next 16 weeks that we'll be together. Okay, so just to kind of show you guys around again, first day welcome, let me kind of show you around the class. You guys see here that announcements are listed. So I asked just a moment ago if you guys had received any of the emails or announcements that were sent out. They are designed to ping your CCC email address. So if you guys know that you don't normally check your CCC email address, one thing, try to get in the habit of doing so. Most all Malcolm X or CCC correspondence will come through your student email, okay? But I actually included a little bit of information in one of the previous announcements about the Brightspace app Pulse. So let me just pause to ask the question. Have you guys already added the Pulse app to your phones? Some of you may have already had it.
Yes.
Previous classes. I see yes. I see yes. I see Alejandra, no, not yet. Okay. That's perfectly okay. I see a couple more, no, not yet. That's all right. One assignment, if you will, that I want you to consider for week 1, really making sure that you download the Pulse app to your phone. And there are several benefits to that, especially if you guys get a chance to look at this video. But one of the main benefits of having this app is it puts you in close contact with the class. If ever I need to get in touch with you guys quickly, send any updates to assignments, or let's say maybe even change or remind you about due dates, it will all come through this app. So I think it would be best practice, right, in your best interest to make sure you have it on your phone. Anything that I would send to you guys would then ping your phone like a text message notification. So rather than you having to go in and check your CCC email, this just removes a step and it brings that actual message to you, okay? So as you guys can see on this page, Alejandra, a few others mentioned that you haven't, you don't have the app on your phone. Visit our Brightspace course page. Here you'll see a video that gives you a little bit more information about it and how to add it. The video, I believe, supports iPhones, but even if you have a smartphone, the Samsung, it's just like going to the Play Store and downloading, any app, to your phone. You're looking for Brightspace Pulse, okay? So when you guys get a chance, please make sure you are doing that. That will make sure you don't miss anything. And the catch to that is, whether you, download the app or not, anything that I put out on Brightspace, the student is responsible for that information. So whether you go and check it on your own, whether it notifies you to your phone, whatever information is posted to the course page, it is the student's responsibility to, read or review that information. I will assume that students have done so, okay? So make sure you guys have that. So you see that information. I also posted a little bit more information, reminders you guys could see, and sorry to do crazy scrolling, but you guys can see here I gave the link for the class meeting. I gave links to the online learning readiness survey. So when you guys get a chance, you can go in and complete that. I've also included a link to the course syllabus. So we'll talk about all of that today, but you guys can see that. And hold on, just want to change my screen a bit, because the screen that you guys are looking at is what I see as facilitator. But as a student, if I'm viewing it as a student, your screen would look more like this. Now this is on your laptop. It'll look slightly different on your phone, okay? So you guys see that. You see here how it has a calendar for upcoming events. So you guys see that here. It also includes, look, let me get that out. That's information such as your content. So if you guys will look at this banner along the top of the course page, content, this is normally where you will find any documents or our weekly modules. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Assessment is where you guys would normally search for your grades or things like that. So again, this is our course page. This is how I communicate with you. This is how you complete assignments and so forth. So you guys, when you can, get a chance to play around and poke around here. Something else that I wanted to show you guys while we're in the course page is I went over the weekend and I started front loading our course page with documents, with information that'll help orientate you guys again to the course and give you that information that you need in order to be successful. So if you see here to the left of your screen, there's what I call a table of contents. So this will allow you to navigate the contents, the documents in contents a little bit easier. So we're going to talk about the required text, but you guys can see here that I have found a free PDF version of the text. And I just did this by doing a Google search. So I did find the 4th edition of the required text PDF version online. So I uploaded it for you guys here. I also included the syllabus, but I want to show you this. We're going to talk about the syllabus in just one second. But I want to show you here under Module 1, Week 1. Oh, this is it. Okay. The way that the remote learning class will be designed is students will work out of weekly modules. So for each week, here under content, I will always post the reading, the writing, any discussion board or paper assignments here. It'll always be under your modules. So let's say, for instance, you missed a class. Let's say something may have come up. You may have missed a couple of classes and you want to kind of find out what you missed, where we are in the class. These weekly modules are your snapshots of where we are week by week. In the modules, I normally will include reading assignments, homework assignments, any discussion board activities or assignments. So let me show you guys what we have for week 1, which I call our orientation week. So what a part of the week 1 module will be our welcome videos, which is a virtual icebreaker. We'll talk about that in just a moment. but you kind of see how the assignments are laid out. We have our diagnostic this week. So the article that you guys will be using, and we'll talk about this too, I have that listed here. There's a video I'd like you guys to view about the habits of the effective online learner. There is a syllabus quiz scavenger hunt that will be an assignment that'll help culminate the week, so you guys can get a sneak peek at that. And then I always include a checklist that will allow you guys to kind of keep the assignments organized and in order. So very helpful with the Brightspace course page will be your weekly modules. Every week I will post the weekly modules, normally by Saturday night, Sunday night. So as we start the week, you guys will know what those assignments are. Okay. So I'll pause just a second to change the page, but if you guys have any questions, just kind of feel free to jump in. It's perfectly okay. All right, so you guys see this information here. I'm going to come back to the weekly module. I'll revisit that. But with the short amount of time we have today, I did want to take you guys through the course syllabus, only the highlights, because while I can post it here and I can ask you guys really make sure you're reading everything on Brightspace, there are certain information in the course syllabus that I think is really important, and I don't want to leave it to chance that you guys will see it. So there's a couple things in the syllabus I want to point out. So let me pull this up for you guys really quickly. Sometimes it shows a little funny in the Brightspace window. So give me just a second to download it. Give me 1 second. Uh-oh, sorry you guys. I know anytime I'm in Zoom meetings and someone is just scrolling on the screen, it normally drives me tad bit crazy, but trying to get to the end of this page. Let's see. All right. And through all of that scrolling, you guys may say, Miss Cole, that looks like a lot of information. But one thing you guys will learn about me, you know, not only in these first few weeks, but throughout the 16 weeks, is that I try to be very transparent. So I don't try to hide any information. I try to let you guys know as much information up front so that you are then able, you know, to operate with, you know, that proper knowledge. So the syllabus may look a little long, but again, it's really just laying out pertinent information about the class. So tell me this, can you guys see on your screen right now the Malcolm X course syllabus? Is that what you guys see on your screen? I see, yes, yes, okay. Good. I cannot tell you how many times I've taught or gone off on wild tangents while students were seeing something totally different on their screen. So, okay, good, we see this. All right, this is the document that is posted on our Brightspace course page in your contents, and this is listed as required reading. So even though I'm going to take us through what I call highlights of the course syllabus, it will still be up to you, you know, as active participants in the course to really make sure you're reading this and kind of carving out your own understanding, okay? All right, so just a little bit of course information here. Again, you guys know this is English 101, Section I. This is a 3-hour college level course, and we will meet synchronously. So that means in Zoom, in this space, Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 to 3:20, okay? I started out by saying we'll meet on this schedule for the first 4 weeks. And the reason that I specify that is because once we move into our papers, especially revisions and research, sometimes we'll meet face-to-face once a week to give you guys the other day of the week to really get the work done, to get the writing complete. So this schedule will shift, but as of right now, we are meeting our Mondays and Wednesdays via Zoom, 2 to 3:20, okay? All right, so taking us through, you guys know this is a 16-week class. We will be together, you know, during 90-degree weather, but we will also be together as that temperature starts to drop and the seasons change. So sometimes you'll like me, sometimes you may not like me so much, but you know, just know that in this course, I am your facilitator. So my main job is just to really make sure that students are obtaining and retaining the learning from the course, those concepts and learning outcomes that will enable you to complete and pass the class on to the next level, okay? So while you guys know that we meet those 2 days a week, hour and a half, this is a 3 credit hour course. I also want you guys to see here where you see where my mouse is by expected study hours outside of class. Do not be deceived. Do not think that only on Mondays and Wednesdays for that hour and 20 minutes will you get everything you need. It will require some outside study. It will require reading and reviewing of class notes, certain concepts or ideas that you were introduced to in class. So it will require study. So I tell students not only plan for the class itself, but also plan for study hours outside of class. And if you guys are anything like me, with the pandemic, with us kind of being sent home to, you know, to work and live, sometimes the days kind of run together. Sometimes the hours, they just kind of all bleed together. So I have to be proactive in carving out time. If not, just me independently taking that time. I tend to be rebellious in that way. So if you know yourself, know your study habits, know what works best for you, carve out the time. You will be expected to study outside of class as well, okay? All right, just a little bit more information. You guys see here, I highlighted, I'm taking it up just a little bit. I highlighted the Zoom course classroom. This classroom will not change at all over the next 16 weeks. So one thing you can bank on is we will meet in this location. So again, make sure you guys are saving it. If perhaps you forget it or lose it, know that it's always listed in the course syllabus, okay? So you have that. Instructor information. I'm going to give you guys a little bit more information at the end of class, but here is my contact information. What's missing here is a phone number. And I have a Google voice number, and I'm just jotting this down because I need to make sure I add it. So there is a phone number. There's a way for you guys to get in touch with me. If perhaps you prefer text, you know, I want you guys to use the Google Voice number to reach out, ask me any questions you have about an assignment. If you would like to meet, and you guys see here are my office hours. If you wanted to set up a meeting or an appointment to meet with me before or after class, that phone number will be the best way to do so. So I know you guys, I'm saying that number and it's not here, but please know that I will be updating this document with that information, okay? So make a note of my office hours. As we get into the semester, whether or not you guys have more than one class a day, you'll see that after a Zoom class or a synchronous class ends, it will feel like you have to kind of go right immediately to your other course or task. So sometimes you may have a question or you may need to talk to me, but time will get away. Really make sure you're using the office hours, perhaps maybe coming to class a little bit early or staying later to meet with me, okay? And if you struggle, use that number, and email address is the best way. Some of you I've already started corresponding with via email. So you guys know that if you email me, I normally will respond within 1 to 3 hours. So it's normally a fairly quick response. All right, let's see here. Use the classroom. Oh, I'm sorry, Dontrell, that's private. I'm sorry, I'll look at it. So if you're wondering, is there a preference between the classroom or office hours? There is no preference. I simply try my best to work around what works best for you. So if it works best for you to kind of see me privately, You know, you want to make sure that, let's say, for instance, another student doesn't come in, you know, before class and maybe, you know, step into the space where we're speaking. You can visit me during office hours if privacy is really important. Or you can also do the same before or after class. We could do breakout rooms. So whatever is your preference is what works best for me. I can tell you that the best way to contact me is via email, because I'm normally always right here in front of my computer. And I'll also update us with a phone number, Google Voice phone number. Okay. All right. So course description, I added this to the Brightspace announcement, but let me just go over this really quickly for those of you who may not know. This particular class, this is a writing class, so it's considered a composition course, okay? But I do want you guys to know that we will use reading and writing in this course to produce argument, right? So the major writing of this course is persuasion, the academic argument essay, okay? And we use the argument essay to help improve exposition, reading, formatting, and critical thinking skills that will be necessary in subsequent and more advanced level classrooms. But I would just want to interject here. Not only will the skills you learn in this class help you as you move into your majors or programs, it will also help you in your everyday life as employees, as employers, parents, etc. The ability to communicate, especially the ability to persuade, is a skill, you know, right? An ability that will benefit us all, okay? So know that. Course methods of assessment. You guys have kind of seen a little bit of my methods of assessment. I'll normally ask you guys a question. So you see how you came in and I had the check-in. Pick a word that describes how you feel. You guys have seen the questionnaire, the online readiness survey. So these are methods of assessment. That's my ability to assess not only student learning, but also student temperature, right? I use surveys, quizzes, polls, checklists, all of those things to evaluate what students know or what they may need in the classroom. So regular assessments are a part of the class, so you guys can expect that. And again, I'm going through this quickly. You guys can have your own opportunity time to look at course objectives, but I wanted to take a little time to highlight the student learning outcomes, okay? So I know we're doing this electronically, but let me try to annotate a little bit. All right, so here are student learning outcomes. You guys see where that arrow is? Important about student learning outcomes. Upon successful completion, if you guys see that language, upon successful completion of English 101, students will, and then it kind of outlines here a list of learning outcomes that at the end of these 16 weeks, students should be able to perform. They should be able to exhibit. So this is really important, and I want students to be mindful of this. When students ask me, Ms. Cole, you know, what do I need in order to pass the class, right? It is these outcomes. You need to not only show knowledge of, but ability to, again, perform or practice these outcomes. So let me touch upon them really quickly. In this class, over the next 16 weeks, you will learn information that will help you to process or help you through the process of reading and writing. So in this class, we engage and utilize the process of writing in order to persuade or convince. So the writing process is drafting, revising, editing, proofreading, etc. And we also use that same process in evaluating the work of others, so peer review. So we'll talk more about that. Another student learning outcome, upon successful completion of the course, students should be able to define the purpose and audience for each writing task, adopt a voice or tone appropriate to the academic audience, and achieve the purpose of the writing task. Well, we've already identified the purpose of writing in this class. The purpose of writing in this class is to persuade or convince. So students know that already. That's good for you guys to know coming in. We will learn or look at strategies to help us appeal to an audience, right? In order to persuade and convince them. Another student learning outcome for this course is the ability to engage in exposition and argument. Now, when you guys hear the word exposition, that word simply means your ability to reason or develop reasoning in order to persuade or convince. So exposition deals with your development of ideas, your discussion of evidence, right? So upon successful completion of this course, students should be able to formulate and support a thesis, direct argument or explanation to a designated audience, and incorporate reasoning, explanation, and other rhetorical strategies to support that thesis. Another important learning outcome for this course is we will learn tools to help with organization and development. So we look at things such as clear framework, writing according to the parts of an essay, intro, body paragraphs, and conclusion. We employ rhetorical strategies to help with the purpose of the writing task, etc. So you guys see the various organization and development tools you'll be introduced to in the class. We learn strategies to help us avoid and identify intentional and unintentional plagiarism. We're going to talk more about that in just one second. This class also spends a little bit of time reviewing mechanics and grammar, so there is emphasis on it in relation to revision, proofreading, editing, and applying those conventions of standard edited English to our writing. It's what I call formal writing. So we'll learn how to do that, as well as critical thinking. The successful student will leave this class with the ability to summarize, analyze, and evaluate the arguments, counter-arguments, and evidence in the writing of others. So just in the discussion of the student learning outcomes, you guys really see that emphasis on writing. You see the emphasis on not only writing the argument essay or persuasive essay, but the tools needed in order to persuade or convince the audience, okay? All right, I see I have oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I see a hard time seeing the screen. It could be how you are, how the, what do I call these? Look, how your screen is viewed. So I'll say, for instance, with mine, Kiara, I had to move my bar on the side because it was blocking content. So you may have a bar on the side where you're able to kind of maybe see yourself. You can click on that bar or screen and you can adjust it and move it, and it'll allow you to see things on the screen. So that could help. But let me also attempt to enlarge it. You guys give me just 1 second. Anytime I have Zoom running, it's as if everything else on my computer runs just a tad bit slower. So I'll do my best on that, Kiara, but if not, I want you guys to keep in mind that this information is on Brightspace. Hold on, I should be able to make this larger. Oh yeah, I see it here. All right, so that should be a little bit larger. All right, a couple more things. We're right at 2:37. So we took a look at the student learning outcomes, really important. If we were face-to-face, I would tell you guys, highlight, circle it, underline it. And I will again revisit these outcomes to let you guys know why it's such an important component of the course. All right, something else I wanted to highlight or emphasize about the course is the required text. How are you guys doing with the required text for the book? Have any of you guys ordered your text as of yet or received your text? Where are we with the book? Look, do I need to look at, all right, I see a couple things here in chat. Let's see, no. I see I have, yeah, okay. Waiting on shipment, I ordered it. All right. Sorry, a couple more coming. All right. So it looks like it may be, and just based on the responses you guys threw out on chat, it looked like we may be at about maybe 60% have it, and ordered it, and about 40 we may not have or may still be waiting on it. That's perfectly okay. If you have ordered it and you're waiting on it, if we start any reading and you have not received the book yet, just know we do have the PDF on our course page, okay? But the text for the class is They Say, I Say, The Moves That Matter in Academic Writing, 4th edition. And let me just clarify, is that the book that we all have? Okay, good. And the only reason I ask is, I don't know if you guys have been to any other classes as of yet today, or even have any other classes, but there has been a logistical nightmare with the bookstore. A lot of instructors, the books that they had originally selected did not show up on their adoption. So good. I'm glad that you guys have, or at least have ordered the correct text. Okay. So along with the text, the only other requirement that I ask you guys to invest in, try to get your hands on a college level dictionary and thesaurus. So whether that's digital, because I just have the app, Webster's Dictionary. So I have that app on my phone so I can view both dictionary and thesaurus. But because a lot of the a lot of the writing that we'll engage in this semester will be in response to what we read, right? You don't want any unfamiliar word or any unknown word to impede on your comprehension process or your ability to accurately, address an issue. So at this particular level of English, when you encounter a word that you don't know or understand, you definitely want to stop and look it up. You do not want to kind of treat it as a speed bump and kind of read through it. A lot of the text that we'll read in this class, the author will assume you know the meaning of words. So we won't always have the benefit of context clues. They'll assume that you'll know the meaning, and they'll kind of drop a word as though you know what it means. If you don't know what it means, if you're unsure, dictionary, really important in helping you to gain that clarity. And it also helps you with building that college level vocabulary, okay? Thesaurus, equally important. And I know that's old school. I know anytime day one orientations, when I ask students about a thesaurus, why would you need a thesaurus in a writing class? There's normally a lot of blank stares. And the reason is, I don't even know if we still use the word thesaurus, right? But I'm going there. I'm old school. This is a composition course. Well, I'm semi-old school. But this is a composition course, and thesaurus is really important when you write, because we tend to hang on to familiar words, and we tend to use them again and again and again. And repetition, especially in argument essay, it tends to work against you. So thesaurus really important with word choice. Dictionary really important with you getting clarity and understanding from what you read. All right. Is there a digital version of a dictionary and thesaurus that I would recommend? Good question. I like Webster's, and I think I like Webster's because they make it easy to navigate between dictionary and thesaurus. So the others, because I use some just right on my desktop as well, they may have the dictionary, but they won't have easy access to a thesaurus, or they'll have what they call just a list of synonyms. I prefer thesaurus because it gives me more of a robust list of synonyms, which is all a thesaurus is, right? But it's a little bit more formal. So I would say Webster's. Okay, that's a good question. All right, so in addition to the text, in addition to a dictionary thesaurus app, students must have access to email, internet, and Brightspace. You cannot be successful in this class without access to the course page, okay? So because this is a remote learning course, because so much depends on us being in contact electronically or digitally, you will need to have that access. That is a requirement, okay? This is a little bit, I'm sure you guys know this, but make sure that you're keeping all of your essays saved or backed up on your computer. I think if you're writing in Google, it does it automatically, but if not, always save any writing that you do in this class. You never know when we may have to revisit it, okay? And if you can, try to have a notebook binder folder that you designate for this class specifically. So I have my English 101 folder notebook that I dedicate to my notes, assignments, and keeping things organized, okay? So required materials, really important. Keyword is required, not suggested materials. You may be able to make it if you don't purchase the book, in that we have the PDF version. However, if you are a person who utilizes books, right? And I'll just ask this really quickly to you guys. Do we prefer what I call, the tangible text, or do you guys prefer the e-books or the digital text? What do we prefer?
Digital.
I hear digital. Okay. See, Don Trill says the tangible. Yeah. All right. Oh, so we have different tastes. So that's what will depend on whether or not you will need that text. I will always order a tangible, because I like to flip through pages. I like to jot down notes. I just kind of like to interact with it. However, just because you are reading it digitally doesn't mean you still can't go in and annotate, add notes, or even print it out in order to view it. So you guys have a couple of options there, using your preference in order to kind of seek out that required text, okay? Again, a reserved copy is found on our course page. All right, something else you guys see highlighted on the course syllabus is this idea of active pursuit and college citizenship. This has taken on a whole new face with this remote learning, with school after COVID-19, right? So I wanted to really point out to you guys what active learning and college citizenship looks like in this class. And it says here, I am of the optimistic belief that most students enroll in their courses with every intention of actively pursuing and becoming a conscientious member of those courses. Active pursuit is defined as regular class engagement, whether that is weekly check-ins and submission of weekly modules and assignments. So with this new age of the electronic classroom or the digital classroom, active pursuit does not mean that that I'm keeping attendance or that I'm necessarily keeping tabs on every interaction. But in order to demonstrate active pursuit, in order to demonstrate that you are a conscientious member of the course, you want to attend class regularly. And whether that is showing up for the synchronous, viewing it, whenever you can, it is those weekly check-ins, completing those weekly modules, checking in to Brightspace course page, checking into the announcements and content. Again, I'm sorry, I'm kind of just pausing to make sure I say this appropriately. When it pertains to active pursuit, at midterm, any student who doesn't exhibit active pursuit, hasn't been showing up regularly, hasn't been checking in regularly, hasn't been completing those modules, that student is normally tapped as incompliant, if you will, and normally administratively withdrawn from the class. So really make sure that when you guys are reviewing the course syllabus on your own, you are looking at active pursuit, really carving out an understanding of what that means. While it isn't so much the attendance, so to speak. Now, I don't want to say that and then all of a sudden you guys are like, Ms. Cole said I didn't have to come to class. It's just that attendance isn't what is going to penalize you. It's more so the engagement with the class. So not just being here in the synchronous meetings, but turning in any in-class assignments that we turn in. Working to complete those weekly modules. A student who has gone multiple weeks without checking in or completing those assignments will be at risk of being administratively withdrawn. So review this section when you guys get a chance. I kind of lay out what college citizenship looks like, the habits, what I call required student practices. So I have that information listed here. Familiarize yourself with the no-show policy. Let me highlight it for you so you guys see right here. The no-show policy, the registrar drops students who haven't checked in, who were enrolled for a class but haven't checked in to that class in the first week. So you want to make sure you're doing that. We talk more about being on time, even for the Zoom class meetings, and staying the entire class meeting, doing your best to participate. And I know participation is a little bit difficult in a setting like this. We have about 23 students in the class. We are in this, foreign forum, right? Where we're not sure when you should talk, or should I raise my hand? Should I just blurt out a question? Participation is those regular contributions to classroom discussions. Whether you're dropping something in the chat box, you are speaking up and engaging in discussion, completing discussion boards, etc. That is what participation and engagement looks like. Okay, and that's what I use to really assess attendance and things like that. It isn't so much being here, it's what you do while you're here. Okay. Because this is a one-on-one class and we are really digging deep into debate and argument and this whole element of persuasion, we're going to have a lot of discussions. So I want you guys to start to tell yourself, kind of gear up for voices, right? We will include more voices. I'm okay with chat, but a lot of what we pick up from our reading, a lot of what we'll even put into our writing will be generated from these discussions that we have in class. So know that. Again, I lay out here what college citizenship looks like, submitting work on time, preparing, come and prepare with your homework. If you are struggling at all, if you feel like you're falling behind, really seeking out that help. And I want to show you guys something with this too. All right, so you see where my mouse is at with the seeking help if you need help. This link here, and am I able? Hold on, let me clear this. Like, I'm halfway scared to click on it because I don't know if I really want to leave the syllabus yet, but we'll come back to this. In the course syllabus, in the actual document on Brightspace, when you click on this, it takes you to a page of student resources right here on number 7, where it says, if you know that you are struggling in the class, if you know you need help, you must seek it out. This link gives you a list of all of the available help resources for students. So it is the virtual academic support center where you can find your tutors. It is the wellness center where you can get help in terms of mental, emotional, physical wellness. It gives information about the veterans office, your advisors, etc. So I have a one-stop shop for you guys to find all of your student services that you need. All right, this is something I want to point out as before we, in the last few moments of class. If you don't view anything else in the course syllabus, really make sure you guys are looking at my policy on plagiarism. I highlighted it here, but I did want to emphasize it a tad bit, in that since I've noticed I've made the move from face-to-face classroom to a digital classroom, I've noticed that I have more cases, increased cases of plagiarism in student papers. And this has been in the classes I taught from the spring, where we were abruptly shifted to Zoom or digital learning, as well as the classes I taught this summer. So plagiarism, especially in an English 101 class, is really serious, because it is assumed that this is college level. The student is aware of what plagiarism is and its implications. So let me really just make sure you guys are familiar with what it is and the implications. So plagiarism occurs when a student takes credit, and I could say student and instructor, no one is really exempt from plagiarism, but it normally occurs when a student presents work or attempts to present someone else's ideas or work and pass it off as their own, okay? Any idea that did not originate in your mind, if it wasn't an original idea, if you read it from somewhere else, if you gathered it in your research or from watching TV, if you were going to use that information in your writing, you want to always cite the source. You want to give credit to the originator of that either writing or idea. So it says plagiarism is considered a serious breach of academic integrity and will be punished as the college deems appropriate. Here I posted the student handbook, so you can kind of see the college's policy on academic integrity and dishonesty. But for this class, the first instance of plagiarism is normally, normally receives the consequence of a 0 or F for that assignment. But any instances beyond that, so a second offense of plagiarism, could lead to not only the student being kicked out of the class, but also failing the class as a whole. So you really want to be very careful with your consideration of how you use ideas that you interact with online. If you are using it as research, if you're quoting someone, by simply adding those quotation marks and citing your source, you are eliminating the danger of plagiarism, but you're also giving the source their proper credit. So really important, take time to view this information, not only on plagiarism, but on cheating. Because students are drafting their own arguments, there isn't a lot of opportunity for cheating. But plagiarism, especially as students are researching, using research, sometimes it gets a little hairy. So really be familiar with the rules surrounding that. All right, something new as well that I wanted to share with you guys is this class is what I call Netiquette Guidelines. So that's a little play on the word etiquette, but since everything is done online, there are certain nuances that I want you guys to be familiar with as we communicate, engage, and interact online, okay? So one is, with the Zoom format, I want you guys to listen attentively to whoever has the floor during lectures, presentations, or discussions. However, if you would like to perhaps join in or contribute to that discussion, you can feel free to use the, I believe they call them emotions, at the bottom of the screen, I believe, of your menu. You can raise your hand or anything like that, or even drop a message in chat in order to contribute to the discussion. But you want to avoid interrupting or cutting someone off. Another thing for Netiquette Guidelines, as we're interacting and engaging online, you want to avoid in the chat box using all caps. In the digital world, when you type in all caps, it is considered yelling. So that's normally when a person is trying to emphasize their speech or add exclamation, right, to their speech. So no yelling, please. It's not always appropriate to type in all caps. Because most users perceive this as yelling. You want to be conscious of it because it can get in the way of your message. So we promote, just like in writing, formal use of capitalizations, punctuation wherever appropriate, okay? Not that I'm going in and grading your chat or your discussion comments, but really be mindful with the capitalization, okay? Sarcasm. Some of us, we have our own tones. I feel that I'm sarcastic in nature, so I have to always really be mindful of how I'm coming across, right? So we want to consider that as well online. So sarcasm can and will backfire. Sarcasm has been at the heart of many online arguments, writings, and responses. So to avoid those, stick with direct and polite responses anytime you are engaging in an online learning environment. So whether in chat, class discussions, breakout rooms, or even those discussion board assignments, you want to avoid sarcasm. Don't lose your personality or so much of your thoughts or ideas, but where you can adjust tone or eliminate sarcasm, we want to do that. All right, another thing with making the move to digital or online classroom is most of the instructions will always be written. I try where I can to add video, where I give video instruction or leave video notes, but almost everything is sent via email or in some type of text form. So you want to really read first before you respond to a discussion post or a question. Always read thoroughly through the information and seek out your own answer. So you want to try to be as accurate as you can in your response. This will help with the not only with reading comprehension, but also with empowerment. When you feel that you are prepared and you know what you're talking about, those students will speak up more. So what will help with that will be reading, being clear on what you're being asked to do before you seek out your own answer, okay? Another is think before you type. Remember that what you post in an online classroom discussion is part of a permanent digital record. So you want to be respectful. You don't want to post anything that perhaps can possibly come back and be used against you, whether you meant it a particular way or not. So you want to be as respectful as you can. I kind of give myself a code. If I don't feel comfortable saying it face to face, then I think twice about posting it online. So if you don't feel comfortable saying it face to face, then maybe reconsider the wording in text. Okay. So those are the Netiquette Guidelines. I want you guys to familiarize yourselves with that as well. This is the conduct along with the college citizenship and active pursuit that will help us to form community and be comfortable in our classroom environment, okay? All right. Just kind of scrolling through to see if there's anything else I'm missing. Again, student support services. I have this link here. Click on that. It gives you an entire view and one-stop shop of all of the student services, so you guys can use that. I lay out here the student services covered. Library, very important for the 101 class. We'll talk more about that, but you guys see all of the resources available through that link, okay? All right, so we got about 20 minutes left before we go. Required coursework. I don't want to leave without letting you guys take a look at this. The type of student I was in undergrad and in graduate school is I always would kind of flip through the syllabus and I want to see what are the assignments, right? What will we be asked to do in this class? So I want to give you guys, look, my kids, all of us are home. So from time to time, you may hear my dog bark. You may hear my kids. I have a 15 and 16-year-old. You may hear, outbursts. Overlook it. Forgive me. We're all here and working from home. You guys know that. All right. So required coursework. Let me show you guys a few things. And when I say require coursework, what it simply means is what culminates in your final grade in the class, right? Kind of making sure that I'm not just giving you busy work. Every assignment is working towards a particular grade in the class. So let's kind of talk through that breakdown. Required coursework, one is homework and in-class assignments. That is a regular primary part of the class. The homework assignments normally will deal with reading of argument, if not a reading of argument, reading a chapter in your textbook, answering questions, completing exercises, including peer reviews, okay? So that is normally what homework, in-class assignments, discussion boards, that's normally what that may look like, all right? Discussion board assignments, those count towards your final grade, and those particular assignments, you guys will normally receive a discussion board assignment, if not once a week, once every other week. So pretty regular discussion board assignments. Since this class is the argument, right, it deals with the argument essay, a lot of times we are looking at current events, what's going on in the world around us, trends, what's trending, trending topics, controversial topics, and we normally discuss those various parts relevant to the class in our discussion board. All right, so not only are you guys doing homework assignments, discussion board assignments, there are also essay. Of course, this is a composition course. You guys will be not only reading the argument essay, but also constructing your own argument essay. So there are two what I call formal academic argument essays, and we have two response papers, which are a little bit shorter, but essays, regular part of the class. Students are normally introduced to topics in the class. From there, you guys select whatever topic you think interests you most, and from there, students will be given prompts to write their essays. I did want to point out here, let me use my annotation, show you guys. You see where the color of the font changes here? This is letting you know those topics. So this particular semester, I am focusing our paper topics and a lot of what we will read this semester on the theme of stigmas in healthcare. So not only is Malcolm X a healthcare focused institution, but we're also an institution that services communities of color, right? So with those two communities, you know, in the classroom, I want us to explore health in society. What does it look like around us when things such as stigmas, whether the stigma is mental illness, perhaps it's race or economic driven, when stigmas and healthcare collide. So that is the main theme for the semester. So a lot of the reading that we'll look at, a lot of the papers that you guys yourself will write will be in response to these controversial issues. So just to give you guys a little heads up there. You know, one paper we're looking at mental health and stigmas in the media. The other is race and stigmas that impact pregnancy. That's really the health stigma there. So we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. We'll get more into topics. All right, I see my time. This is really important. I want you guys to, when you have a chance to look at the syllabus on your own, final portfolio. So all of these required assignments lead to your final grade in the class, but one of the most important is the final assessment, which is the final portfolio. All of the papers that you guys will complete in this class will be compiled, well, not all of them, a representation of your best work papers will be compiled into a portfolio at the end of the semester. And that portfolio will be assessed based on those student learning outcomes. Do you remember early in the class today where we talked about student learning outcomes? Upon successful completion of the class, students should be able to do the following. Well, the final portfolio, which is worth 30% of your grade in the class, it is assessing those skills. It's looking at your writing and seeing, is the student able to use a thesis and then include evidence to support and develop that? So we'll talk more about it. Get your initial introduction here in the course syllabus. So I'll give you a blurb here. If you guys see at the end of that final portfolio blurb, it says, please refer to the student letter for additional information. I am posting into Brightspace under course syllabus the student letter that will give you guys a little bit more information about that final assessment for the class. So this is the final assessment that normally takes place week 15 of the semester. Okay. All right. So give you guys time. We also from time to time will complete quizzes. So for instance, there's a quiz after I think the first 4 weeks where it really looks at the first 2 chapters that we read, as well as our definition of what is argument. We also have a midterm. So at least 2 quizzes you guys can count on throughout the semester. So when you get a chance, take a look at this information. Here is the breakdown, just what each assignment, how it weighs on your final grade. So you guys see the papers count towards 30%, that final portfolio 30%, quizzes 10. So again, you guys take a look at that. I tell students whenever they ask me, Ms. Cole, what do I have to do to pass the class? I normally tell them you definitely don't want to miss any papers. And the reason you definitely don't want to miss any papers is because look how it shows up twice. Here we have paper expectation, and here on your final portfolio is a paper expectation. So anywhere where you may miss a paper, it's going to impact you here. So some students, without knowing it, by missing the first essay of the semester, they in one way or another are forfeiting their final portfolio. Because if you don't turn it in, how can you then include it in the final portfolio? So one advice I'll leave us with before we get ready to go is definitely don't miss a paper, okay? Any other assignments, you can kind of play around to, use your own judgment. You guys are college students, but I definitely would not miss any of the paper assignments. All right, so let me go ahead and close out the syllabus orientation here. We got about 10 minutes left. When you guys get a chance, take a look at the course outline, this calendar. This is designed to give you guys an idea of what weekly what our classes should look like, what we should discuss. But I do want you to know that the course calendar is subject to change, right? Maybe I may read a particular article and I think this article will work better instead of one I had previously picked out. Well, I will make changes to the schedule. I won't make any changes to the assignments, but I will make changes sometimes to the schedule. So just know that the calendar may be subject to change, okay? All right, let me go ahead and get this off your screen for a second. Let's stretch, come alive a little bit. Last 10 minutes of class, before we get out of here, let me ask you guys this. Well, first of all, any questions? And I want to give us all time to address any questions or concerns that we may have from that information that we were just hit with, right? So if you guys can just take a moment, whether you are jotting it in chat, whether you want to say it out loud and address it to the entire class, it's up to you. But I would like for everyone to leave today with one question, at least one question, either one question that you may have about the class, the coursework or materials, or a question that you may have, or a comment that you may have about an expectation you have for the class. So with this 12, let's say we have about 8 minutes, with the last 5 minutes, because we're gonna have to have a little few moments to talk about it. If you guys will drop a question, and this is everyone, kind of, we'll call this an exit slip before we leave today. Any question about the class? No question is trite or useless. Every question is important. So either a question about this syllabus or a question or statement about your expectation for the class. All right, let's take a couple seconds. Think on it, drop me something, or shout it out for me. All right, so, and I know you guys are working or writing, so I'll address it in just a minute, Jorge. Give me 1 second. All right. All right, I see you, Dontrell. All right, that's a good question, Emily. All right. I see you, Jen. All right, good question so far. I know a lot of you are still working. Take a couple more minutes. Let's take about 2 to 3 more minutes to jot down questions. In terms of participation, right? Remember what we talked about, what does participation look like? It'll be these little assessments, things I'll ask you guys to drop for me. Take a moment to complete. This is how I'm really assessing engagement and participation. So again, if you don't feel comfortable shouting it out loud, drop it in a box. But if you want to, you know, speak out today, please do. All right, so I'm just gonna let the questions come in, but okay, we got about 5 minutes. Let me try to work through them before I'm out of time. And a lot of them are really good questions. Okay. So I think the first question, syllabus under content. All right, from Faith, is the syllabus under content? Yes. Okay, good question. I like that. All of the documents that we've pretty much discussed or covered today, they're all on our Brightspace course page under content, okay? And if not under content, then under that week 1 module, all right? Good. Jorge asks, will you show us the format you'd like us to use on essays and writing assignments? Good question. Yes, prior to any essay or writing assignment, especially essay assignment, I normally go over proper formatting. Students normally view a sample essay. So not only do you see the format, but you get some idea of what the assignment should look like. So yes, I do give you guys proper format and samples when it comes to essays. Dontrell, will the homework be in the modules? Yes, good question. The homework is always in the modules, but on top of that, I also give announcement reminder. So if it's not in the module, normally it's in a blurb in the announcements. Sometimes you'll see it too in the calendar. So I try to give you multiple places to spot the homework or any assignment that's due. Okay, and just to pause with that, the homework tonight is you guys will be reading the Diagnostic, reading Why Johnny Can't Write, and that is in the module. So I'll show you in just a second. All right, will the assignment still be available after the due date? Good question. Since we're in this remote learning forum, I try not to be a jerk about due dates. You know, I try to lay out a recommended due date, but normally when I lay it out, there's always a grace period that is given. So I may say the paper is due Friday, but I'll leave it open and turn it in until, let's say, Monday morning. You know, so it's normally always a grace. But I normally don't accept anything a week after it's been due. So we stay within these weekly time frames. If it's due in a particular week, anything, if we're a week beyond that due date, you've waited too late, and normally is when that assignment will no longer be due. I mean, it'll be accepted. So, but again, that's on a case by case basis. So, good question there, Emily. Keziah, when is the survey due? Good question. All things that are in the module right now, everything except for the reading of the Why Johnny Can't Write, everything in that module is due by next Monday's class. Okay, so again, it's a weekly basis. So I give it to you guys early so that you'll have all week to work on it, but it's normally due at the end of that week. Okay, so the survey, you guys have time on that, but definitely get that in. Good question, Janet. Can essays or assignment be written in paper as well? You can draft them, so you can write them up. You can do any free writing, any drafting on paper. That's normally how I always write. But for submission, for you to submit it and turn it in, it will need to be typed and submitted in a word processing document. So whether that's Word, Google Docs, or anything else. So can we email assignments? Olga, good question, Olga. Homework assignments, normally, yes, unless otherwise specified. So when you look in the week 1 modules, okay, we're right at 319. When you look at the week 1 modules, some of the assignments are attached to, like one is attached to a discussion board. Well, you see that there. So it'll tell you where to submit, but mostly homework, yes, you guys can email those to me. Will you give us feedback on our essays? Alejandra, let me tell you, I am the feedback queen, okay? And that's not to say that I give criticism. I give feedback. So my feedback is designed for development and improving. So whatever needs to improve the writing, you guys definitely receive feedback from me, timely feedback, okay? I work really hard on that. How often are we expected to read a book? This is a good question, Jariah. In the class, beyond the readings, which will be articles, text, or things like that, there is no real book that you guys are expected to read, but I'm always interested in whatever books you guys are reading, okay? All right, so it's 3:20. I don't want to take you guys too much out of your time, but let me take this last question from Caesar, and all of the rest I'll answer in I'm sorry, an announcement, okay? So don't worry about that. But let me just answer this last one by Caesar. Do the welcome videos need to be long? All right, hold on, let me show you something to help you answer that. Welcome videos. If you guys go to the modules, hold on. The Brightspace course page weekly module, I give full assignment sheet as to what's needed for those welcome videos. I said it shouldn't be any longer than 3 minutes. That's way too long, but as long as you're answering all of the questions. So that welcome video asks you to tell where you're from, you know, so I'll just kind of play it, you know, use it a little bit before you guys leave. You know, so as your instructor, my name is Aletha Cole. I am from Tulsa, Oklahoma, originally born and raised. I've been in Chicago. This is my 20-year anniversary, you guys. I moved to Chicago August 2000, year 2000, 20 years ago. So telling my age, wink, wink, whatever. But so been here 20 years. What other? It also asks you in the welcome video about career goals. So I teach English, you know, at Malcolm X College. I've been doing so for 10 years. Prior to this, I worked in advertising and publishing. I believe the welcome video also asks you questions like, what is, you know, what do you think, or what do you expect to gain from this class that'll help you outside? You know, I expect that this class will help me write better papers, etc. Right? So, okay, time is up, but definitely take a look, view the module week 1. Assignments that are due immediately is the reading of the article, Why Johnny Can't Write and Why Employers Are Mad. Read that in preparation for Wednesday's class, because on Wednesday, we will be using 40 to 45 minutes of class time for a diagnostic writing exercise. So really important. Other than that, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I am sending updates and reminders to Brightspace. So when you get a chance, go in, play around, check out the syllabus and the weekly module, okay? It was great to meet you all. Next class, I'm going to need voices. All right. All right. I'll see you guys later. I'll hang around for a few minutes afterwards, but if you don't need me, you are free to go. I kind of jotted down who's here and who's not, so I've already taken roll, so you guys don't have to worry too much about that. But enjoy your day. It's a pleasure to meet you.
You too, Miss Cole. Have a nice day.
I thank you, Julia. You too.
Thank you.
Hi, Caesar. Have a good one. Or did you need me?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Tamara Thompson, Alex. Tamara. Is she the librarian? I think I do know her. Is this a student, Alex? I may have missed that. Oh, you just asking me a question, Alex. All right. Thank you, Faith. Have a good one. All right. Jorge, did you need me? All right, now. So I guess everyone else is okay.